The 2026 FIFA World Cup is here. The greatest sporting event kicks off in just 2 days' time. And tonight we've got the full preview. Harry is here. And for the first time on Red, White and Roo, we've got a very special guest. Harry, welcome in. How you feeling, mate? 2 days out. World Cup fever surely is going through the roof.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be good. I'm just keen to destroy my sleep with some 5 a.m. waking up. I'm lucky that we know 2 a.m., but 5 a.m. will be good with the fire toasting and ready to get some shabba-labba, goal bafana come Friday morning.
We've got an absolute treat coming on Friday morning, don't we? A rematch of the iconic 2010 game. Now, listeners, tonight we have someone who is at the absolute core of my footballing life, a very close friend of mine that I went to school with. He's got more football memories than most. He's just about done it all, seen it all. Andy, welcome to the pod, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. It's good to be here. Listened to a few episodes, but it's good to finally be on board.
Mate, we're stoked to have you in.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
More importantly, Andy, enough of the pleasantries out of the road. Where would you rank your World Cup fever as of right now?
This is like the first World Cup that I wasn't excited for. And it's only been since you started messaging me a couple of days ago that like I've actually started to get that nerves of, it's actually happening. Whereas it's just like, I've just been so busy. That's just been something that's going on in the background. And when I start getting the notifications, that's when I'll start paying attention. But like even today, that's when I started getting, that's when my YouTube algorithm changed, was starting to look at who's in each group, what's going to happen, stuff like that. And now I'm hooked.
It's, we've been talking about it on the show the last few months. There truly is nothing like it, hey? And you've been lucky enough to go to a World Cup. You went to Russia in 2018. I don't think there's anything that compares. It just is. It makes me feel like a kid again every 4 years when it rolls around.
Yeah, and you're never going to get that feeling that you had when you were a kid. But I think it's one of those things that you don't remember the good moments when they're happening, but it's just that nostalgia that lasts. And I think, with the World Cup being every 4 years, that's just something that it builds over time. And yeah.
We've also spoken, Andy, about how it's nearly like this timestamp in your life that comes around every 4 years. And you remember those World Cups so vividly that you then remember exactly what your life looked like so vividly at that point. And for you and I, that goes back to, 2006, 2005 when we qualified for the 2006 World Cup. It then goes to, 2010, we're in grade 7. And then 2014 was probably the big one when we were in high school and we all just absolutely locked in and fell in love with it even more. And then there's Russia, where it's the first one when we're at uni and we're teenagers and you don't have your mum and dad telling you to go to bed, so you're just destroying your sleeping pattern. As you're growing up, your life was always so vastly different across each of those 4-year cycles that it was just the perfect timestamp on your life.
And I can still remember it's a perfect little window into each stage of your life. And I remember where I was living, who I was living with, what was happening in the school holidays or whatever. I can remember each of those moments across.
Yeah, well, for me in 2022, I can vividly remember multiple conversations with a teacher of mine about a night of World Cup games that I pulled an all-nighter for, and I think he might have as well. I just I can basically remember the whole conversation word for word.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough that when I was growing up, we had a TV that had a feature that could you could record the games and it kept it on the TV. So that's my 2014 memory, is just making sure that I had every game filmed, and then it was across school holidays. So when I wasn't working, it was watching games.
Yeah. Andy, I've told Harry this story. I think I've told it on this podcast, but listeners, sorry if I'm telling this again. I will never forget 2014. You boys around staying at our place. We were playing the Netherlands, 2:30 kickoff. It was the middle night of the 2 days of athletics carnival. And
Yeah.
I reckon we woke all of my house up. And rightfully so in
Yeah.
hindsight. Because
Yeah.
that's a moment, that Cahill volley, that I will never ever forget. And I just remember like it was stacks on in the living room with a group of
Yeah.
16-year-old boys at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what else brings you that?
I just remember Harry asking Camille if he could stay up, and the answer was no. And
And dare I say, me and Lachlan might be close now, but I best believe Lachlan was in mum's ear going, send this kid to bed. I don't want him pestering me and my mates.
Yeah, I don't want my 6-year-old brother being awake. I mean, fair enough. Hey, it would be very different now, wouldn't it? But so Andrew, how would you describe in a little, short time, your footballing journey, I guess you would put it, as a fan, and obviously you also now are working in football in Brisbane.
Yeah. I think I probably have many similar stories to, younger brothers who, was watching my brother when I was 3 years old and he was playing under sixes, and, being told that I have to wait another 2 or 3 years until I could strap on his hand-me-down boots. But, ever since then, like football, it's been the only sport that that I was ever going to play or ever going to take seriously. It's always been in the background. Played for the Dolby Tigers, the mighty Dolby Tigers, growing up, and then
Emphasis on the mighty.
on the mighty, that's right. And then got to play in Toowoomba a bit. As growing up in a small country town, it can be tough to get numbers together and play in a decent competition. And then when I came to Brisbane, played for the mighty Taringa Rovers, and it depends how much of an expert you are in the footballing world as to whether I was good or not. But had a pretty serious concussion towards the end of a couple seasons there, and then have slowly progressed into coaching after that. And I mean, I enjoy coaching much more than I ever did playing. So, yeah.
Why do you feel like you enjoy the coaching more than the playing? Is it more rewarding to you?
It is. Yeah. I think it's when you have a concept or an idea in your head, and then to actually see it come to fruition on the pitch, and to see, like, it's when you're a player, it's just about whether you can be better or stuff like that. But as a coach, you take on the responsibility of the 17 players in your team, and can I make them better? Can I make them enjoy it? And just seeing, I think you see the growth. Whereas maybe when you're a player, you're just so self-focused on yourself and you don't see that growth. So it takes other people to tell you whether you've grown or not. So, yeah.
No, that's a great answer. I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Look, moving on to more specifically World Cup stuff, Andy, you did attend the 2018
Did.
in Russia. I can't remember. My memory's hazy on what games you went to. I think you went to Socceroos, Peru. Is that right?
Yeah, Socceroos Peru, which, it was a dead rubber match, but it's a cultural event when you go to a World Cup match. And it's so weird being in such a foreign environment, especially something like Russia, and then there being 20,000 Australians around you. And Peru as well. They had it was their first World Cup. So their fans didn't expect them to win, but it was just exciting that they were there. And it was just, I don't like dead rubber games, and I think that's part of the format that FIFA probably needs to work out. But it was just like everybody was excited to be there, and it feels like home halfway around the world, which is it's just like that
Which
weird
when
feeling.
somewhere as remote as Russia, which some of those games in that tournament were so remote. Like I remember watching Spencer FC vlog his way around Russia to watch England, and some of the hotels and the cities he were in, it was like the roads were like barely like proper bitumen. It was proper like rural and pothole galore, which I didn't think that's what it was going to be. I didn't know what I thought it was going to be, but it wasn't that.
Yeah.
what about the wider experience of attending a World Cup? Like, because it is a very unique experience.
Yeah, it's completely different to just, traveling Europe in the summer. Like it's everybody's there for the same thing. And you just wear a Socceroos jersey or any jersey, and then you struck up a conversation with anyone. And it's everybody has this one thing in common, and it doesn't matter where you're from. And it's just, I don't know, it unites the world, which is, I don't know, something that's, I think, really important. But it's just, it sets everything else aside, and it's, let's just have fun and play football. Yeah.
Which I feel like that's so much of what the World Cup embodies, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like tears down the walls of like the different, different nationalities, different races, and everyone's there for that shared one thing, which is the football and seeing their nation on the world stage. What we're going to go through a little bit of a quick fire. We do a segment called the World Cup Rewind. Andy, we'd love yours. What's your favorite World Cup that you remember? So in all the ones you remember, you're probably the same as me. 2006 is probably the one you remember earliest. Do you have
My favorite World Cup would have to be Australia 2023. And I think that,
nice.
yeah, it's a out there one, but I think that's because like football in Australia has it's with the media. It's just, I don't think the Australian media quite understands football in Australia, and I think it took having a World Cup for that to slowly start changing. So, and I just love it for if we got a men's World Cup here as well. But when it comes to the nostalgia, it has to be Germany 2006. Like, if you ask me what my favorite boots are, it's those white and gold Predators. Yeah, and just like the kits, I think it's probably maybe it's just because it's my the first World Cup that I remember. Like everything was just the Adidas and the Nike advertising. It just hits you differently as it does now. It's just like, oh, it's just another pair of boots. But back then they were the pair of boots that everybody wanted and couldn't get. Whereas now it's, if I want to, I can just go buy the new boots, right?
And it's not only that about Germany as well, Andy. It's the Adidas Team Geist football and like their whole Adidas range. There was the white and gold Predators. There was the black and gold Predators as well. Or I think it was actually gold and black. Harry Kuehl was wearing them when he scored the equaliser against Croatia. You've then got the T90. It's like that T90 era of Nike football as well. But it also, like, you look back, that 2006 World Cup, those teams were stacked, man. Like, guys that now anyone that plays any level of FIFA or plays Ultimate Team, it's like, wow, it felt like every team had like 6 guys that are now icon cards in the game. Like Italy had, obviously the one had Cannavaro, Del Piero, Buffon. I'm totally blanking.
I think every team had a young player also that broke through. Whereas, I've got the 2006 All the Goals DVD, and that was Robin van Persie's first World Cup, and it's like every team just seemed to have that one player that was like a breakout, and didn't fizzle out, like actually went on to bigger and better things. Whereas now it feels like the media tries to hype up a player from every country, and it just doesn't feel the same.
I would agree with that. It's kind of like guys now can be viewed as a bit of a flash in the pan, whereas you think about the guys right now that are still playing that were at the 2006 World Cup. It's Mexican legend Guillermo Ochoa. You've then got Messi, Ronaldo, Luka Modric. I don't know if there's anyone else that was there. I don't think there is. But like,
and it was
all
Messi
of those,
Ronaldo's first World Cup as well, which is probably adds to it as well.
Messi wearing 19.
Yeah.
Messi wearing 19 with the Adidas kit that had it was like the weird numbers with all the lines.
Yeah. Ronaldo wearing 17. R9 playing as well.
Having C. Ronaldo on his kit because he couldn't have just Ronaldo because the original Ronaldo had it. So good. So good. What about your standout World Cup memory? So not necessarily your favorite World Cup, but a standout specific memory.
Yeah. Probably has to be Uruguay, 2005. And I think, that probably comes down to, I think people forget that this is the World Cup finals. The World Cup runs for 4 years. And, it's easy to forget that because for a lot of countries, qualifying can be just a given. But for us then, it wasn't, as we were still trying to qualify through Oceania, which only had 0.5 a spot, which meant we always had to go to a playoff game. But just having the World Cup finals not as a given, and then finally crossing that line after what had been for so long, I don't know, that's euphoria that, my parents didn't grow up in footballing families, but it's something that they'd never really seen either or didn't really remember. So it felt like a huge moment. Yeah. But then Tim Cashwell's goal against Japan as well. I mean, how can you forget that?
Oh, man, I told Harry on the podcast, one of a few episodes, I remember trying to recreate in the backyard, hitting both posts.
Yeah, both posts of the swing set.
And I think the thing about 2000, I think I remember the thing about 2005. There's so many deep dives you can watch on YouTube that go into depth of the Socceroos curse of the past, and 98 against Iran, 2002 where we went to Montevideo and we had the home leg and we bottled it, and then they lose 1-0 in Montevideo. They come back, Bresciano gets a goal and he does the celly where he's just standing there so big, and the fashion of doing it on penalties, it's Craig Foster losing his head in the commentary box while he's commentating. And it's just they just couldn't control themselves. And fair enough, he's screaming Johnny Warren as Aloisi's running up the touchline. And you can go into Johnny Warren's story about how he was such a footballing pioneer and had a real vision. And I hope that he can see the great where the game is now. And that's to say, we have so far to go. I totally agree with your point on the media in Australia. It doesn't really understand football. I feel like there's such a thing of it's competing with AFL and NRL, but it's not really. It's its own thing. No, you're not going to steal people you're going to steal people off the AFL and the NRL. There are people right now that are supporting NRL and AFL teams that will go home at the end of a day of being at the football or whatever and destroy their sleep pattern to watch a team from overseas.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. I think that's one of the
There are people that go to the MCG and then go watch the victory.
Yeah.
They would do it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that, the FA and the APL currently have is that decision to put the A-League, over summer. And I think that just massively impacts the quality that we see. Look at any team, any sport. If the Brisbane Lions were playing in 40-degree heat in the middle of the summer, of course their output is going to be down 20%, right? So I think we need to, get that back playing winter. And, I think that'll make a big difference, and put it on exactly the same time the AFL and the NRL are on. Compete, go head to head. Don't try and be that third sport. Back yourself and, actually go for it. Because there are so many people, I know so many football fans that, have their Optus Sport or their Stan Sport subscription and are just, waking up at 2 a.m. to watch their team. But, they would watch those games.
Yeah, I think if the A-League was if they get their act together, people will support it. You saw it back when it first started, and everyone was all over it. You saw Suncorp getting sold out. Where did that go? I think you could easily get that back. You move it back to winter. They start the Raw start performing, and you see in Brisbane team fans get behind their teams. Really, no matter who they are.
There's a lot of great stuff happening in the A-League. We've got lots of great young players coming through, getting moves to Europe, which we haven't really seen, since that golden generation. And I'm talking proper moves into into top European leagues. I'm not talking about playing in the Swedish second division or something like that. It's like, like Jordy Boss has moved to Feyenoord in Holland and like is tearing it up, and like we just haven't seen that in a while. And like we're starting to get transfer fees for these players as well. It's not just players leaving on a free or
Yeah,
waiting until their contract runs down and then trying to find a club and going to do trials. Like we're getting transfer fees for these players now, and I think Jordy Boss he's the most exciting player to come out of Australia. Like, and who's actually going to he will be the poster boy at the next World Cup.
I've been a couple of people that obviously don't follow the Socceroos that I've been chatting to just at work and stuff. They go, well, who's going to make me turn the TV on? And I said, look, there's Nesri and Kunda. He's going to excite you, but the real talent is going to be Jordy Boss. He's just a freak. Like in that Mexico game where he takes on that fullback and absolutely burns him. It was genuinely shades of Gareth Bale, the way he was moving. Like it is proper frightening. Which brings us moving on to the Socceroos. Andy, how far do you think the Socceroos can go? What's your take? What's your thoughts?
I'm optimistic, and I think Popper is the perfect coach for cup competitions. And I think we'll make it to the round of 16. And I think Popper just has a siege mentality. He's still early in his reign, so it's not something that the players are going to be exhausted of yet. It's going to be something they're going to fully buy into. Australia is the underdogs in the world, but then I think we can just really buy into that when it comes to playing football, and I think Popper will get that out of the players, and I think they're up for it. Like it's they are. I think we have the right players for it as well. We've got lots of quick players, but then there's also that strength in midfield as well, which will just boss teams about, I think, in terms of like pushing them off the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like just a well-built, like strong, exciting team that we haven't had forever, really, since 2006.
Yeah. And Australia always lifts for the World Cup, right? Like when you watch us play in the World Cup compared to when you watch us play in the qualifiers or the Asian Cup or anything, it's just like you're watching a different team. It's like the team gets up every 4 years for these matches.
Big time. And I think one of the things with 2022 specifically is we were totally written off. No one thought we could do anything. We qualified through knocking Peru out in a shootout in the intercontinental playoff. We did it the hard way, and then we go toe-to-toe with Argentina, concede a silly goal through a Matt Ryan error, and then the other goal, Messi scores. We get one back, and then we have our opportunities. Could have easily been 2-2. Could have easily been 1-1.
Yeah.
And you're talking about going toe-to-toe with the team that went on to win. Like, you are right to say we absolutely do lift. And I think one thing that I kind of, and it doesn't, you'll understand this, Andy, it doesn't annoy me, but like, I know the World Cup gets everyone excited and it gets everyone hot and horny and it's fantastic. But like, Harry and I have followed this qualification campaign really closely. And it's actually been really enjoyable to like stay up for a 9 p.m. kickoff on Paramount Plus when we've got like a really tough away day in Japan. And you're like, our backs are against the wall. We're trying to go there, get away with a point, or try and like nick a goal late and win. And to see them now, this team, and see how they've evolved over the qualification campaign, not only with Arnold leaving, but then also Popovic coming in, it makes it even more exciting to be able to like go to the finals and be like, right, like, this team's evolved. They've done really well. And we still haven't really yet played a game where we've kind of tried to control it ourselves and gone, we've soaked up all this pressure and then we're going to go out and, in the second half go and not blitz teams, but really put our best foot forward, because that's how Popovic wants to play. He wants to soak up the pressure and then hit teams moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it's been cool to watch us through like that 0-0 draw in Japan, where like we're sitting there like watching a boring Socceroos game, but the final whistle, we're all jumping about the lounge room at about 11 o'clock because we've got one foot in, like we got a really important point that we needed from Japan, and then the as is beige winner at Optus, and it's been so good, and even like following us going over to, was it Iran? We went over to the Middle East, the game before Japan, and we needed a point or something. Oman. Yeah, and I remember watching that going, there's about 5 Australians there and they're all on the bench. There's no one in the crowd. There's no one just anywhere. And we've gotten it done. No, it was Saudi Arabia. Lachlan, I reckon it was Saudi Arabia. We needed something against Saudi Arabia.
Could have been, no, that we played Saudi Arabia after we played Japan.
Yeah, that might be what I'm talking about.
There was like an impossible result that would have meant we were going to not go through, and we ended up winning the away leg 2-1.
Yes, that's him.
But yeah, Andy, I feel like all the people that are getting ready to be casuals for the Socceroos, it's like, go and get behind the boys when they're away in bloody Qatar,
Sam.
Now, boys, before we get on to our predictions, we've got the opening match of the World Cup. We touched on it in the intro. South Africa versus Mexico. Now, if this game, I'll be there, 5 a.m, parked up, ready to get it on like it's 2010. If this can provide a moment as iconic and vibes-based as Shabalala's goal in 2010, we're in for a treat. I don't think we're going to get that, but how are you guys feeling going into the opening match? I don't care about the analysis of the match. It's more so how you're feeling, how you're going to approach it, how you're going to watch it. What do you want to see? It is at the Azteca, the home of Mexican football.
I'm just happy it's not US playing the first game. Like I just think it's a really good, and it's not Canada or US. You're giving it to the passion, like the passion country of the World Cup. You're giving it to Mexico. There's going to be a heap of Mexicans. It's going to be a vibe in the city, and this feels like the start to a World Cup. USA, Paraguay doesn't.
Think, Harry, there's not a country in the world that is more World Cup than Mexico.
Exactly. And it's the perfect place to start. And I'll be there just ready. It's very exciting.
When
Andy,
is the first game for those casuals? Do we have a reminder for when that
5 a.m. Friday, June 12th.
SBS?
5 a.m. kickoff on SBS. The entire World Cup is on SBS, which is unbelievable work from the great people at SBS. So you'll be, when there's the group games where there's 2 games on at the same time, you'll be dabbling with SBS HD, and then you'll be on SBS Viceland, I would say, getting into work on the Viceland channel.
Yeah, but where I'll be parked up on my couch, just like any fan from afar, and then heading down to South Bank for the
fire going.
Yeah. And then heading down to South Bank for the Australian games. That's where to get a bit of that World Cup fever.
Yeah. We're taking a big group down to South Bank. So if you're going to be there, pop in, say good day. I'm actually really excited to see what it's like. In 2023, Andy, when they did it for the Women's World Cup, did you go to any of the South Bank site games?
I did. I went to the was the Australia semi-final where we lost.
The England game.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know how many that. It was just like there was so many people there. Like it was packed, and it gives you that that same feeling of. And I know the World Cup was here in Australia and it was us playing, but I've also been to like King George Square in 2022 when we played Argentina, and it's part of that. It's almost as good as going. It was like everybody coming together, but it's just like that one little faction of it's just your nation. There's no other nations there. And I love that it's waking up early in the morning. Like that's what football is to me. Waking up to watch Les and Lucy on SBS, and I think there's just like that common. Lots of people in Australia have that common coming together of like that same experience of childhood of, watching that. And I feel like the World Cup sites are just like a little hotbed of that.
Big time. Big time. What I've had a few people that I know went to King George Square in 2022. A unique experience considering you would normally be standing there in the pitch black the whole time, but because it was the World Cup in Qatar, it was actually early December, so it was summer. So the sun was like basically up for the whole game. Can you describe what's it like when you're standing there waiting for the game to start, and then the game starts and we concede, and then they score again and we get another one, and like the whole roller coaster ride as a fan in the crowd?
Yeah. The mood definitely drops when we concede, especially early on. But I know there's still that common sense of like, like we can take on this pressure and we can take it to the best. Like it is a World Cup and we do live for the World Cup. So, yeah, like and everyone just comes together and there's that common push for support. But, yeah, I think with the problem with King George Square was that they had it on a stream and then they had it live on SBS in like the pub. So
I heard about
everyone
this.
in the pub would be screaming 40 seconds before the goal was scored. So like that, killed the mood and the anticipation. But it's still awesome that
Yeah, I heard about
everybody
that.
does come together, and it's a real, like, everybody watches the Premier League at 3 a.m., but you start to see all those people come out at the time of the World Cup, and how many people do
And I think it's
follow this sport in Australia.
Well, I think it's where you realise just how many football fans do exist in Australia. We're everywhere. Like genuinely, we are everywhere. It is like the amount of people I speak to that are like, yeah, I support this club, I support this club. Yeah, I do this, I do this, I do this. Like they're not there. It's that you don't see it in Australia because the A-League isn't well engineered to harness the interest of those people just yet. I hope one day it gets there, and it will. If it takes off, it will be unbelievable. But they are definitely there. Andy, I'm so excited. Harry and I are going to we'll drum up the same group again to whoever wants to join to go into South Bank to watch the USA game at 5 a.m. I think that's going to be so much fun. Like genuinely so much fun.
Now, Andy, I've got a question. So, last minute of that Argentina game, we have that chance. A crazy save from Martinez. What's the vibe like when that's happened?
It's electric. Like it's like even you just talking about it now, like it raises the hairs on my neck. Because like Argentina being such a good team, like you don't think that we're going to be able to do it. Like it's always we're the underdogs, like we're always pushing, and then it's maybe we can do it. Maybe we can upset one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
It's you go from not believing at all to it's the only thing that's going to happen.
And I suppose for Australia, like we were never expected to like win that. So like after Qual gets that chance, it's more of like there's the letdown after it happens of like, oh, that was so close. But it's like, hold on, we put up like a gallant effort against the eventual winners. And it like turns into we push them to have to make that save. Like it was not a walk in the park. Like it was not 2-0. Like we showed up, made it 2-1. Martinez makes that crazy save. This is still talked about by Argentina fans of like a massive moment for them winning the World Cup, and it's little old Australia.
Yeah, and like I mean, we've always been a top team to get to the World Cup.
Cool,
like,
sitting in my lounge room.
Yeah, like we've always been a top team to beat at the World Cup. Like in 2006, Italy only just get past us. Yeah, and then when we make the group stage in 2022, it's like Argentina just get past us. Like, I am an optimist, and it's like we only need 7 1-0 wins until we win the World Cup.
And that's the attitude I want, listeners. That's what I want to hear from everyone. 7-1-0 wins, 7 cup finals, you win the World Cup.
Yeah,
I totally agree, Andy. I totally agree. Is there a player, Andy, or a team that you're most looking forward to watching at this World Cup?
I think think it'd be interesting to see Norway. Norway is a hotbed of youth development, and we've seen that with Odegaard and Haaland coming through, and they're the big names. But there's I think they're probably an underrated team, and I think everything will be suited towards Haaland, whereas when in Pep's Man City, it's the philosophy first and then Haaland second. But I think Norway will get the most out of him. And they're just one of those teams that will, it's going to be old school Haaland, and they're just going to, absorb pressure and then give the ball to Haaland and see what happens. And, he's the player that, we just wish we could have. And, you get that one opportunity and he will take it. But, I don't know if Yengi will be taking that opportunity, but I hope he can. But whether or not he will is,
Mate, I think it's more so the big bad Mohamed Toure. I think hopefully he can be taking those opportunities. Yengi's starting games at the World Cup, we've got serious dramas to Mo Toure. Someone snapped his leg.
Yeah, but I think we're just going to lob balls into the box into Yengi, right? Like Yengi's going to be that player that comes on in the 80th minute, and we just start lobbing balls into him, just like we used to with Mitch Duke.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that is why Popovich has selected him in the squad.
Yeah.
Because we don't have someone who offers 197 centimeters of brute force.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I think Norway's a great shout, actually. Harry, do you have someone you're looking forward to, or a team you're looking forward to seeing at this World Cup?
It's kind of a boring answer, but it's just the World Cup storm that comes with England.
It's already started after their game against New Zealand.
It's just the football world of England, and them you see videos on social media of them blowing up at opposition fans, just sunburnt red with their shirts off, drunk off their heads, and it's they're the biggest team in the World Cup, I would say, of the global scale of who knows them, who watches them, and it's just really exciting. I will never miss an England game because they feel like massive events. And as a Premier League fan, Premier League's the league I watch, it's all just exciting. And I'd say England are my second team because they've every major competition, they have the storyline of nothing since 1966, the massive failures. If they go well, they don't go well quietly, and if they don't go well, they definitely don't go well quietly. So it's just someone you're always intrigued to watch.
I think it's also more intriguing for them because they do house the biggest league in the world. Their players go for the biggest fees, and yet they haven't really had any success at international level just yet. They've been in a lot of finals and been up there at the business end, but they haven't gone over the line just yet.
Yeah. And then player stepping out of the Australian shadow. I'm actually interested to see how Christian Pulisic deals with the American public thinking he is really good and he's not what they think he is. And I want to see if he, as the American poster boy, can live up to that.
He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders, especially for a guy that scored one goal since December.
I think player of the World Cup's already been decided, though, right? The breakout star. It's Tim Payne, right?
It's got to be.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
Good. I love that.
It's got to be. Did you see that? Did you see, Andy, that the guy that there's another one that turned to Kai Truan?
Yeah. Kai Truan's going to hang on to 100,000.
Dude, he gained 80K or 90K overnight after the whole Tim Payne stuff sort of calmed down. But that's a World Cup storyline. That's something that would never have happened at any other time, bar right now, where some streamer is so keen to the World Cup like we are, that they're I'm going to go and find the player with the least amount of followers, and I'm going to get everyone to follow him. What? It's fantastic.
And I think
it's not quite Paul the Octopus from 2010, but it's up there.
I think that just shows you that it is a World Cup. It's not Australia versus PNG in the rugby leagues. This is the World Cup, and Tim Payne now has more followers than the population of New Zealand. Like that's a global event. And that just doesn't happen in the AFL. Like I know you boys are AFL fans, but it's just that doesn't happen to Lockie.
We know.
Like yeah.
Nor should
Look, it could it could have. I thought it might have happened to Lockie Neal for all the wrong reasons over the summer. It wouldn't have surprised me if some American tabloid picked up his story and all of a sudden he was all over American news.
No, it is a good point, Andy, and it's also one of those things that I think it just harnesses like what it is, and it is something that nothing else is like it for all of these weird and wacky, wonderful reasons. Now, boys, our predictions. We've got winner, the matchup in the final, a bold prediction for either good or bad, golden boot, dark horse, golden ball, and best young player. My winner, I'm going to start. My winner, it's a little bit obvious. I'm going for an on paper play. It wouldn't this team, the best team at beating them is themselves. I'm going to go with France to win. I just think like their squad has way too much depth. They're sending off Didier Deschamps. It's football's worst kept secret that Zidane's going to be the manager after the World Cup. They'll want to send him off on the high note. And I just think France is going to win.
I've gone with Portugal. It's such a romance of Ronaldo's last World Cup. He gets it done. It's just, they've finally what feels like a very good team with a very much aging Ronaldo, but still Ronaldo. And if he can produce 7 games, they win the World Cup.
Yeah. For me, it's I don't know if it also comes under my bold prediction, but I think it's going to be Uruguay. And just because
that is bold.
Yeah, they've got an easy group, which means they can rest players. Like everybody knows that the football season's getting bigger and longer, and players they need a break right now. But if you've got a tough group, that makes it extremely difficult. But they're going to be able to rest those players in the group, and then be all guns firing when it gets to the knockout stages. And it's Bielsa's got that siege mentality that I think may not work over 38 games, but when it only comes to 7 in the World Cup, then I think they'll be able to do it. And they've got like that.
Is outstanding.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's
you heard it here
World Cup
first.
passion is.
Talk with the Town podcast.
That is fantastic. I see what you mean. So in your bracket, do you have them knocking Argentina out?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think Argentina have got
will
the
be
best.
like the most.
I mean, I don't see Argentina getting
be
out of the group stage, to be honest.
Geez, that's a bold.
Yeah, I think the curse of the World Cup winners is back. And I know France were able to do it and get out of the group stage and then all make it all the way to the final. But you go back and I think Argentina, there's just all this pressure and it just lies all on one man's shoulders. He's not young anymore.
He's quite old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's certainly not what he was. I know he plays in that more withdrawn, like center attacking midfield role, and I know he's got good guys around him. But I think, Andy, one thing that you're right to talk about the World Cup winners' curse. Every single one of those teams sent a very similar squad for like a last dance, right? Like it was like, Italy sent like a pretty similar squad with still like Cannavaro and co that were a part of it. There's still some guys that obviously could play, but there was also some guys that were like a little bit over the hump. Spain did it and they got grouped. We were in their group. I know they beat us 3-0, but we weren't much to show for it. And then Germany did the same thing in 2018. Were made to pay for it. France bucked the trend, but they're a little bit different. So Argentina, they've done the same as those other teams. So that's I like that. That's some good astute observation. So the rest of us for the final matchup, I've got France Portugal. Harry, who have you got?
I got Spain Portugal.
Okay, and Andy, you've got Uruguay and
England.
Oh, that would be so. I would back Uruguay in a final against England. Actually,
I'd back anyone in the final against England.
Mate, they would come out. Uruguay would come out like a pack of rabid dogs. Like it would actually just be like, get out of their way. Ernesto Valverde, no, what? Federico Valverde,
Mhm.
he would be like a pit bull in midfield.
But like it's also the pressure on. Can you imagine the pressure on England if they were versing Uruguay in a World Cup final? It would be like the pressure would be massive because it would be like, guys, it's Uruguay. You like should just win.
Same as
And
Croatia.
they would
Like,
absolutely bottle it.
yeah, I think like the England press is like trying to stay quiet on like the England national team and like not put too much pressure on them to try and make them perform better. But I think you saw it in 2018 when they versed Croatia. Like that's just they crumbled because they were like, here we go, this is our time. And then like the media starts applying pressure of, well, how can you not beat Croatia? So yeah, I think they're going to get that one step
I also
further.
feel like in that game, Andy, they scored too early.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Euro final.
Yeah, that actually is one of my favorite World Cup memories, having been at the game and had like a perfect position. I was at the opposite end of the pitch, down quite low, and you just see that Kieran Trippier free kick that just goes up above the wall and it just dips down, and it's just a beautiful moment. And like as soon as he got it, as soon as they got the free kick, it's like Kieran Trippier this is going to happen.
Did you send a Snapchat? Did you save a Snapchat video of that?
Yeah, I've still got videos of that.
I reckon you sent me that. I'm now remembering that. I remember I was on I've told the story on the podcast, but I was flying from Washington to San Fran when the game was on. I paid for the back of seat entertainment to watch it. And I remember getting the Snapchat from you when I got off the plane because you and Nick were at the game, your brother.
Back when we were young enough to still be on Snapchat.
Wow, that is, mate, I'm still doing the damn thing. No, I love that. That's fantastic. Bold prediction. My bold prediction is Japan are going to knock Brazil out in the round of 32. Brazil lost 6 games in their qualifying. They'd lost 5 in the previous 20 years of their qualifying.
Yeah, wow.
I just don't think I know this squad has got stars everywhere, but they've had so many issues. Japan are well drilled. They've taken Neymar to the World Cup, which I think was a mistake and could be a little bit of a distraction. Maybe they've taken him as a scapegoat if they don't go well. I'm not sure. But I think Japan, every single time they roll into the World Cup, they are so hardworking. They're hardworking in general, but the World Cup, a little bit like us, they always rise for it. And I have them knocking Brazil out in the round of 32, which would be ridiculous. But that's why it's a bold prediction.
I have gone down a bit of a different route with my bold prediction. I have gone, there will be a game at this World Cup with less than 15,000 people in attendance. You hear about the ticket just drama. You hear about the prices. You hear about the traveling to games. You hear about like you hear about Donald Trump saying, I would not even go watch the US national team for $1,000. I reckon something that's like Haiti versus Cape Verde. I know they're not the same group, but that's not getting more than 15,000 people with the prices that have been set. And it's going to be an embarrassing look for FIFA. I don't think there's a worse World Cup you could have extended it to this many teams.
I like that.
My bold prediction is that I think
also,
New Zealand might get out of the group.
Sorry, Andy. The other thing that is bold. I will get to that.
Yeah,
Harry. The other thing is that the presence of ICE agents at games like that will deter people from those nationalities of actually going.
Yeah, I just think it's a perfect storm for a really embarrassing view.
Nice. Andy, bold prediction. New Zealand out of the group. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, New Zealand out of the group, second place. Belgium are going to romp all 3 games. And then, just Egypt and Iran to get 4 points against. And they've got such a good mood going into this World Cup with so many people, getting around Tim Payne. And I just think it's just going to be the story of the World Cup of, New Zealand getting it done. Getting out of the group stage. That's getting it done for New Zealand. But.
And historically, Andy, they 2010 they were undefeated, so they're coming into the World Cup in hot form. Unfortunately, they don't have Shane Smeltz leading the line, but they've got Chris Wood. So I'd argue that's still an upgrade.
And Sarpreet Singh.
I like that. Yes, absolutely. The other one, when we move on to the Golden Boot, that's the top scorer. I've gone with Harry Kane. I know that's vanilla, but he's in outrageous goal scoring form. Like, I think he's got 60 goals in all competitions this year after he got the header against New Zealand, which is ridiculous. He's also coming off a season where now that he's in the Bundesliga, he gets their Christmas break. So he's not running flat out all the time. He also hasn't really, that was his first game of football he's played since Bayern lost to PSG in the second leg. And they might have played one more league fixture after then. But in their group, they've got Ghana, Croatia, and Panama. Panama, he's scored a hat-trick against in 2018. I don't know how much of a fight they're going to put up. And I feel like the way that England play, they are good for a penalty, and he'll take them all, and he's a very good penalty taker. And I can just see him hoovering up some goals. And if they get an easy matchup in the round of 32 as well, I can see him piling it on. And he'll get some crucial goals if they are to go deep. So he's mine.
Yeah. I think for me, it's probably a similar point, and it's probably going to be, Nico Williams or Ferran Torres from Spain. Like, I think they've got Cape Verde in the group, and that's just going to be, there's some easy games there. So, like, that's going to be a 6 or a 7-0 win, I think. And, if you can get 4 goals, if you can get, you get 4 goals in a single game, that, like, it's a short competition. So, early goals, easy goals are massive to Golden Boot. And it's not always the best player that gets it.
I have Julian Alvarez. I just think he's so good and like so underrated. If they, you see it, some of these World Cups, it's sometimes you can see a real mobile striker get on a little run in a game and like get themselves 2 braces, which again puts you well on your way. You don't need many more after that. So I've got Julian Alvarez.
They also play Jordan, which they're not a bad side, Jordan, but I feel like someone could have a field day. It actually, this round of questioning, boys, has got me thinking. In the nature of the expanded World Cup, are we a chance of seeing a game where a team scores 10 goals at some stage in the future?
No, because I think what you'll see with a lot of the bad teams in World Cups, they're good at defending and they defend for their life. They absolutely park the bus. So I think it could happen, but I just see no. I just don't think so.
Andy, what do you think?
I think when you see, if those teams do play their strongest outfit for the game, then yeah. But I just don't see them doing that. Like, who's going to put their first 11, against Curacao? It's like, you don't need to. Like, this is the World Cup we're talking about, the World Cup finals. Like, there's no need to risk that energy drain, especially when you've got games that are 3 or 4 days apart. Like, every game's a midweek game. So, yeah.
I agree with that point. Although it would be very Germany to field a full-strength team against Curacao. I could see them doing that. It's got shades of Lucas Podolski at halftime when they're beating Brazil 5-0, and he's like geeing the boys up to go again.
So should Kai Havertz then be your top goal scorer instead of Harry Kane?
Potentially. Now, dark horse. Mine, I touched on a little bit before. It links in with my bold prediction. I'm going with Japan. They're my dark horse. I think even though they don't have Matoma, I think they still have enough quality. Andy's got the Takefusa Kubo shirt on. Not only that, they've got some other guys through there. Daishi Kamada, who plays for Crystal Palace. They've just got some quality, and they're always so well drilled. And the J League has come along a really long way. I'd say maybe the last 2 World Cup cycles, it's actually they spit out some really talented players in that league, which we've seen come across to Europe's top 5. I think there's going to be some unknown people, the unknown players that people don't know about. They're always very technically driven, good on the ball, and I think they can do some damage. So Japan's my dark horse.
I I have Mexico. I think you get a nation that big behind you, you can do special things. And like it goes one of two ways. The pressure will either be too much, or they will ride that wave of momentum and give it a real red hot crack at this World Cup.
Yeah, I share exactly the same thoughts, Harry. I think home ground advantage, especially with the passionate Mexican fans, that's a big thing to top. So yeah, Mexico's my dark horse as well. I can just see them grinding out games like as they did against us. You know, a week ago. Like it's just not going to be an easy opponent. You know, and everybody is just going to. I think everybody underrates them as well.
Not only that, there's always a host. Like obviously, always a host. The host usually can be carried a lot by local support. Like Andy, you would have seen in 2018 Russia. They had a
Yeah.
blinder of a World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, Denis Cheryshev scoring from 35 meters out, top bins, like with a siege mentality to get through games.
Yeah, big time, and the local support. And we have obviously 3 hosts this time around. Of the 3, I definitely think that Mexico are the most likely to go that like deep in the World Cup. Just how Mexico is, you boys touched on it. And also the fact that if everything goes to plan for them, they won't have to leave Mexico until like the semis. Like that's outrageous. That's a huge advantage. So I can definitely see where the joined up thinking has come in terms
and
of
the US aren't making it out of the group stage.
Have you got them last in the group? That's another bold prediction.
Yeah. No, it's going to be.
Nothing would make me happier. Nothing would.
There's already a negative sentiment around the US national team with the players that didn't get selected, and getting that confirmation via an email. Like it's just, I don't know. That screams
poor.
Darling Downs football.
Look,
like,
I'm just there thinking about Neil Kennedy getting his email
Mhm.
that he didn't get selected, and just how the public has gone off that Neil did not get his road to the 2026 World Cup starting position. If I'm a US fan, I'm losing the plot.
What's his brother's name?
I think it's Ryan. He's the starting midfielder for the US men's national team.
Look, South Bank, 5 a.m. that Saturday morning. Honestly, if we beat them, someone might need to confiscate my phone for a while because I will be shooting from the hip. Because just their whole thing, it would make me so happy. I was watching a video the other day where a US fan was like sitting there, was making like a YouTube short, like Instagram reel, going, "Who's our hate watch for the World Cup?" I just don't think that like there doesn't seem to be a clear hate watch that everyone's hate watching, and all the comments are just like, "Dude, read the room, read the room. You're the hate. Everyone is hate watching you," which will be fantastic. I can't wait to do that.
Sounds like a job for Gus.
The golden ball.
Take care of your phone. We're just going to sign that to him here.
The golden ball player of the tournament, I've gone with Michael Elise, which links in with my France prediction. He's had an exceptional season at Bayern. He's linked up very well with Harry Kane. Has scored a heap of goals. He's got a heap of assists. He's somehow still a little bit underrated. He scored a hat-trick for France this morning in their last friendly game. I just think I don't know how he's still underrated because he's been exceptional. He was great at Palace. He's now been great over at Bayern. He provides them a spark, and they have that many other stars in attacking positions that will get a lot more attention than him, that I think he's going to have a little bit more leeway to be able to make an impact on games. He's a great passer. He's a great dribbler. He's fast, and he can finish. I just think that he's primed. He's also just like he's very mercurial. Like he fits the World Cup vibes based player, like maybe weaving left foot. Maybe we're getting a bit of a James 2014 about it.
I can definitely see it. I can definitely see that. I just had him in my head. I've just had a brain fade. Andy, you go.
Darwin Nunez. That links into my Uruguay bold prediction. I just think, Uruguay are going to come with that siege mentality, and him up top, being the big man that he is, just looping the ball into him, and then 7 or 8 goals from the head. That's all everyone's going to be talking about. It's going to be the decline of Pep football, and then back to the old lobbing it forward, and then how quickly can we score as soon as we win the ball? The old counter press, the old gegen press. So
love that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a shift. Yeah.
For me, it is Bruno Fernandes. I just it goes with the my Portugal prediction. He's the leader of Portugal. It's not Ronaldo, and he's had coming off a great season in the Prem. I can see him really taking this Portugal team by the scruff of the neck and going, "Come with me. Let's drag Ronaldo with us." 41-year-old Ronaldo.
Can I just say, I know we saw the Messi of 4 years ago. If Ronaldo wins a World Cup, that will be utter mayhem. It would be great to see, don't get me wrong. He absolutely deserves it. But to have Messi win one, then Ronaldo win one, that would be, I think it's too good to be true. I actually think it's too good to be true. I know Portugal is very good, but I think it's too good to be true.
Yeah, because I go there, Messi is the clear winner of this GOAT debate. I prefer Ronaldo, but it's Messi. And I just don't think the world could cope with this curveball getting thrown into the GOAT debate.
It seems like the GOAT debate's settled now, right? But this would just turn it upside down because everybody feels it's the end of an era, right?
I think everyone's kind of maybe
not in the top 5 European leagues.
But I also think that everyone's kind of come to terms with you can't really argue with Messi's resume.
Guys, if Portugal win this World Cup, all of Ronaldo's little billion Instagram followers are just going to be all over the place.
But I feel like 2022 cemented that debate, right? Okay, well now Messi's got the World Cup, that one extra icing on the cake that Ronaldo doesn't even have.
Yeah.
And it's just going to open up that can of worms again. For 4 years, the debate's been settled.
I'm kind of here for it.
Because of this. Pardon, Harry?
I'm kind of here for it, but the thing is, it's not going to be unless we see something absolutely miraculous and just so unexpected, it's not going to be Ronaldo winning this World Cup like it was Messi.
That's also a good point. That's also a very good point. I mean, I'm sure we'd all love to see it. Boys, best young player. I've gone with RWR from Turkey, if you will. I think he has benefited from Jude Bellingham not being as fit or as good this year, which has meant he started a lot of games for Real Madrid. He's had lots of consistency, more than the majority of the games he has started for Real Madrid in that central attacking midfield role. I think he is going to light the tournament up for Turkey. He's going to have Kenan Yildiz alongside him. And I think Turkey are actually going to be quite a good side. I can see them getting, I think I have them topping our group, and I can see them then making a little bit of a run through the knockouts, and him being the key spearhead in that. So I think he's going to build on his strong season with Real Madrid and kickstart his nation into a deeper run.
I have Nico O'Reilly from England. I can see him being the starting left back, and I've seen him get forward for City into the box, and I can see him scoring a couple goals, being solid at the back, and really breaking out after this, again, breakout season he's had.
Got to be Lucas Harrington, boys. It just has to be.
That's
think
passionate.
He's so good, so good, and I also think Australian academies, there are a lot of great players that I just think the A-League doesn't play enough games, so that once they get to 21, 22, when teams in Europe look to bring players over because it's a big move, big cultural shift, you want that a little bit of maturity in a player, but by then we've lost those players. That hasn't happened with Lucas Harrington. He's 18 and living in the US right now. And I think he just gets a big European move from this World Cup. So, and I think that will boost the Australian market for players as well. It's not just going to be Lucas Harrington is going to be. He's going to pave the way for players from Australia going back into Europe's top 5 leagues.
Andy, his story is exceptional. So he came through at Taringa Rovers, an alumni of which you are equally. You guys are on the same standpoint, actually, with him. You're both alumni of the Taringa Rovers, so you can take that to the bank. But last year he was playing GPS football for Churchy. Not only that, he was starting for the Raw. I think was he starting for the Raw when he was in grade 11?
Yeah.
Then
and getting big ups from the coach that he's the next player. Yeah.
Yeah. And he then moves to the Colorado Rapids where he's been excellent in the MLS. And then he obviously gets called up to play in the FIFA series games and just is fantastic. I know that there was a goal that Curacao scored, our only goal we conceded, where he was a bit, he switched off a little bit at the back and they scored, but that's fine. That happens. But he's genuinely so good and he is such an exciting talent. And not only that, you then pair him up with Alessandro Ciccardi as well at the back and you go, whew, that's formidable back line.
Yeah. And it's a bold take, but he reminds me of Virgil van Dijk when Virgil van Dijk was playing for Southampton.
Mm.
Like he's just, everything he does just looks smooth. It's just, he's a well-polished player already. And he just thinks that
Andy,
he needs games in his legs.
True. He has that thing, some AFL footballers have it. There's a lot of footballers that have it where time looks like it just stops around them. Like he just looks like he has so much, he's got like so confident and poised on the ball. He has so much time and he doesn't seem rushed or flustered, which as a centre back is actually, in today's day and age with playing out from the back, is actually a really important trait to have.
And as the Oakland Athletics scouts would say, he's a tools guy. He's a 5 tools guy. He just looks, he looks sexy on the ball.
A nice little money ball reference for you there.
Yeah.
Boys, opening match, Mexico versus South Africa. Score predictions. I'm going to go 2-1 Mexico.
3-0 Mexico.
3-2 Mexico. 88th minute winner. Iconic moment.
That's huge. Now, that brings us to the end, towards the end of the show, of our preview and our predictions. Make sure you drop your predictions in the comments. They'll also be going out on social media. And if you're in Brisbane for the Socceroos opener, we, as we've said, will be going to the Fan Fest in South Bank. So make sure you go along there and get around the boys. 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. You will never, ever. I've been supporting the Socceroos at World Cup since I was 8, and the Socceroos have never played a game in the PM Australian time where you've been able to bask in it at a time that is it's just so perfect to be able to get around it with your mates. So please make sure you're watching together with a group. Before we go, boys, predictions for that game. I want a scoreline and goal scorers. Andy, we'll start with you.
I think we're going to lose 2-1, but it's going to be like, we just lost to Turkey, who everyone thinks is going to top the group. And yeah, I think it's going to be the start of our momentum of, okay, we can get out of this group. And goal scorer.
Nice. I've got
put out goal scorer down to Mohamed Touré for sure. It's an easy pick, but it's just going to kick off his competition.
I'm going a 1-1 draw. It's going to be Socceroos will have 10% possession. Just it's absolutely like nothing, and we'll get a goal, and then we'll kind of shut the game down. I feel like to get a point from this would be massive. It's you just wish you were starting against Paraguay. Get like a game that I would say we should beat Paraguay, and getting a win there, like 3 points on the board. But I think we'll get a draw here, and I'm predicting a Geordie Boss goal.
I agree with Andy on this one. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Turkey. I can see a world where it's like a 1-1 draw, or it's, it goes 0-0 for a really long time, and then someone gets a goal in the last 15 minutes. What will be key to the Socceroos getting a result is that they start well in the first half because Turkey will come out hot. And if the Socceroos can sort of withstand the pressure that they're going to throw at us for that first 30 minutes and then work into the back end of the first half, into the second half, anything is possible. But what isn't going to make anything possible is if we concede early and find ourselves in a really weird position that this team is not set up tactically to play in a way that means they've got to chase the game. So that first 30 minutes are going to be crucial because what we've seen in the last two friendlies is that we've come out and been passive's not the right word. We just haven't been as tight as we would like to be as a structure. So we haven't had the right outlets, which has meant that we haven't been able to win the ball as much, which has meant we've been dominated in the possession game. And we're always going to have less possession than the other team. That's just how we're going to play. But it's been swung too far the other way to the point where we haven't really had any real control or standing in the first 30 minutes of either of our friendlies to start. So if we can turn that around, we will be in a much better spot. I'm going to say Volpato goal.
Oof.
Big.
And he kisses the bat.
Yeah. Love to see it.
So that's
Better than mum ball kissing the badge.
Mate, boys, yeah. And not the Nike badge, the Socceroos badge.
That's right. Yeah.
Boys, I'm sure you guys are the same. I'm sure the listeners are the exact same. We are so excited. Before we go, if you haven't checked out on the Talk of the Town YouTube channel, now there will be 3 episodes from Harry and my nostalgia World Cup gaming journey, Germany, South Africa, and Brazil. Make sure you go and check those out. If you'd like to go back in time of when EA had the World Cup gaming licenses, Harry and I had a great time going back through then. So make sure you check those out. Andy, thanks for jumping on, mate. We cannot wait to share the World Cup passion with you on Sunday. It's been an absolute pleasure. Any parting World Cup wisdom you would like to pass on to the listeners?
Parting World Cup wisdom. Oof.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That would be my words.
Yeah. But I think, get behind the smaller nations. I think there's nothing better than an underdog and, a team that can't win, but with the hope that they can win. And just get to know a different nation. I mean, that's the beauty of the World Cup is that there's, 211 nations to try to qualify. And just get to know the quirks of each of them. I think I just love it. Yeah.
It's outstanding. There is honestly nothing else like it. Thank you so much, everyone that's tuned in. The next 6 weeks are going to be an absolute ride. The World Cup is here. We're ready to cheer on the Socceroos. This was Red, White and Roo. Enjoy your World Cup watching, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers.